At least 155 staff of banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions were dismissed in 2024 for their involvement in fraudulent activities amounting to some 99 million cedis. The latest from the annual fraud report from the central bank revealed the figure marks a 13% increase in such cases, prompting the demand for banks to intensify internal controls and strict authentication of its customers. Let's try and walk you through the data this afternoon on what it is that the central bank governor, or the report from the central bank, has been detailing for us. Let's try and walk you through that right now this afternoon, the very latest from the central bank as with what's been happening. And we're going to go straight into it on the report and the number of cases thereof which were captured in this report. Now, there were as many as 16,733 reported cases of fraud and its related matters. And this is a 5% increase from what was reported in 2023. Now, in terms of the volume, how much money we're talking about potentially was lost as a result of this fraud and its related matters, as much as 99 million is what was lost. And this as well marks a significant increase, 13% increase from the around 80 million thereabout which was reported for the year 2023. Now, if we look at the staff involved in the year 2024, a number of which 155 were dismissed subsequently, the total number stood at 365 staff who were involved, which also signifies an increase from the 2023 report as well. And then, interestingly, of the amounts that was reported, or this is the total figure, 99 million, but of that which was reported, we'll get details of that for you shortly, only 3 million cedis was recovered, which means that a paltry, perhaps 4% thereof is what was retrieved from all of what we witnessed from last year. And a bit more, breaking it down for you, as with the banks, the STIs, and then the payment service providers, amongst many other things, we see here that the cases for the banks, as compared to 2024, 63 in 2023, that number increases to 75 in the year of 2024. For specialized deposit-taking institutions, we see a reduction on that front. And then for payment service providers as well, there's an increase. Let's try and begin to look down the numbers for you one after the other, starting off from the banking sector. And in breaking down the fraud cases from there, we see that a majority of them had to do with instances of ATMs and POS and persons using their debit or credit cards at various ATM points. And that had as many as 413 of such cases reported. On matters relating to cash suppression, that was quite low, 20. Forgery, low as well. There was impersonation, e-money, and then as well concerns with remittance. When we go to the top 5 cases based on fraud, we see that in comparing the data, we see that forgery leads the way, and then followed by impersonation, ATMs, and then e-money, amongst many other things. And amongst the cases, we continue to highlight for you how this is an increase from what was recorded in 2023. And so in 2023, 218 cases, that spikes to 413, almost double of what was reported in the year 2023. When we look at these specialized deposit-taking institutions as well, there as well, we see some increases there as well, where the number of cases has shot up, 344 reported in 2024 as against 241. Again, in terms of the amounts, we see a reduction of some sort from what was reported in 2023. In 2023, the volumes was some 8.7 million Ghana cedis. That dropped to, what, 4.5 million cedis. But that notwithstanding, the overall cases we know and we have seen went up. Let's look at payment service providers as well, and that we as well see a marginal increase there as well, where 15,000 plus cases were recorded as against the 14,000 plus cases which were recorded in the year 2023 as well. But let's get into the trend analysis for you as with what it's looked like all the while up until this point. And so we see that it's been on an upwards trajectory since 2020. That was the year where we recorded what? So since 2022, we see an upwards trajectory, and then finally, we look at what the data says with respect to the cases. So we tell you that 99 million cedis is what was overall lost, but in terms of the cases which were reported, just 88 million, or 83 million rather, was reported, and then a paltry 3 million is what was actually recovered. And so we're working the phone lines and to speak to an economist and a financial expert as well as to what this means for us when it comes to banking, special deposit taking institutions, whether this does anything at all to the confidence of individuals being able to visit the banks as freely as possible and be able to deposit money at the respective financial institutions. As and when we get that for you, we'll bring that conversation to you right now. But look, I appreciate you speaking to us, seeing these figures, seeing the number of staff, 300 plus involved, 155 being dismissed. What jumps at you readily? A case of negligence on the part of the banks, or the reporting schemes doing the magic and flagging these transactions?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your cherished listeners and viewers. It's a myriad of problems, myriad of factors. You can't lay your hands on one. I mean, there's what we call the fraud triangle. The fourth triangle basically is that people under pressure, and then opportunity comes in and they rationalize what they do. And these are people who have been in the system, who knows the system. But they realize that there is an opportunity to commit a fraud, an opportunity. And also there is a rationalization that I am under pressure, so I should do this. And another problem we have is that the moral values of people being employed over the last 10, 15 years, if you check the record, over 10 years, this has been going up and up and up and up. People who are being employed are not ethically sound or morally sound.
Right.
And it is, I will say it and say it. I said it 3 days ago at the forum. The people are very opportunistic and looking for quicker ways of coming out with money. So they want to commit fraud. And then we have the weak internal systems. And then we have weak inadequate training for people. All these things, and the way people get involved in this fraud collusion, and with the incoming of the digitization, we're going to experience more, because it seems we have gone into digitization without talking about the risk and the controls over these digitization. E-money, online business, all these things expose the banks, but they haven't spent quality times to develop tested systems that would withstand people who want to commit fraud, and especially the condoning and connivance between the staff and external people. Right. That makes it very, very difficult.
And what does this begin to do to the confidence individuals will have in the banks and then these financial houses, if all of these issues you're raising is anything to go by, where persons being employed now more and more, you say, morally corrupts, banks not investing enough in the risk and all of that?
Thank you very much. You see, one thing in this part of our world, there's what we call information asymmetry. People do not use a lot of information. In another jurisdiction, if the force started going up as it's been going, you could see the impact. But fortunately for us, few people will listen to your program, which is a very good program, so that they will know that there is a problem with the financial institution or the SDIs and the banks. So the next what we have to do is that we need to even strengthen the corporate governance of the banks or the SDIs. Because I have it on record that even people at certain board level do not seem to appreciate the internal control and the risk control system in the various institutions. So it makes it very easy for those who have been employed to to do so many things out of their way. So we need to improve the governance system. We need to improve the tender control system by educating people, by also employing people with values, people with ethics, people with integrity. Unfortunately, if you check the Bank of Ghana record, it's since I think 2014 coming, it's been going up. It's saying that the people we've been employing over the last 10 years needs to be screened and screened and screened. And some of them even should be going to police check. I mean, people should be going to police check to get police report on them, so that when these people are employed, they'll be told that the do's and the don't. Unfortunately,
right.
Let me tell you something before we go. I mean, when I came to join the bank in the 80s, you know, banks had their own internal training systems, control training grounds, like ADB had its own training, Ghana Commercial Bank, Social Security, NIB. Today, they have converted all these things into something else. So people are employed and they don't go to training on these internal control issues. In those days when you are employed, you spend about 3 months going through this training of internal control,
right.
Whether it's credit, whether it's cash, whether it's foreign, whether it's international trade, all the risk will be told you. But fortunately, in the view of competition, they have closed down all these training centers. And they don't know that they go to banking college. Right. The banking college is for us, not for the lower side.
Doc, let's round up the conversation. You've mentioned training and how important it is, but I just want to raise another aspect of this report, which is quite worrying. Out of the 99 million which was lost, 83 million was officially reported, and only 3 million in recoveries, meaning in excess of around 80 million cedis plus was never recovered. Where do we begin to go from here outside of the education, because the bank as well is asking for intensification of authentication for customers, among other things?
Thank you very much, my brother. I think one thing, what I've observed in this country, the judiciary system for prosecuting people of certain crimes are too slow. I mean, the way we go about our things in banks, I mean, I'm beginning to wonder. The slowness of it affects the effectiveness of the control system. There must be a court, maybe a fast crime court for banks. That people, I mean, how can you say that only how many people have been prosecuted? They have not even been prosecuted. Some of them have been sacked. But anybody who has committed this thing should appear before a court and be found guilty or not guilty. And because the court system is slow, the banks have, some of them have decided that, oh, let us leave it as it is because it's going to take a long time. Let us begin to look at it holistically, that we want to address it. In as much as there are weaknesses in internal control, the other side of it should be swift and fast, so that people will see that when we do this, we're not going to get free. We're not going to go out free.
Right. Doc, I appreciate that you could speak to us this afternoon. That's Dr. Richmond Atuahene. He's a banking consultant speaking to us on the latest by the Bank of Ghana, its fraud and annual fraud report. 155 persons sacked in the year 2024 from banks, specialized deposit-taking institutions, amongst other things.